Khartoum, the capital of Africa's largest country, awakens. Islam is at home in northern Sudan. Here, the strict laws of the Sharia prevail. Weapons have fallen silent in the fighting between the Arabic north and the Christian south since a ceasefire was reached in January 2005. In 2011, the people of Southern Sudan will have the chance to decide whether they want to stay with the Islamic North or gain their independence. Most Christians agree they do not want to stay with the North.
They will fight it through to be united, so that we shall be always second class. They have never done anything in the South, now even during this period, we thought they would make peace attractive.
2 million deaths have been claimed by over 2 decades of civil war, which was driven by the supposed superiority of one faith over another. Millions of refugees live in the northern half of the country. There, the Christian Sudanese from the south have no rights, but they are supposed to come to terms with their Islamic neighbours. The anger over the forced Arabization cannot simply be put aside. Hanan Juan is a nun. She is visiting her sister in Khartoum. This 35-year-old has been living in the south for a few years.
In the south, actually, I'll be first class. I will feel at home and I will feel free. And even my Christianity, really, you will feel it even from the road. When I was going there, you will feel that I'm a Christian. But here in the north, you will be hiding even the crucifix which you are wearing in your neck. You cannot show it outside. If people show it, they will be spitting astaghfirullah, doing like this. They don't want to see the cross.
The Catholic Church runs schools in the refugee camps. Lessons are taught in Arabic, as dictated by the government. The tribal dialects from the south are banned. For many of the children, the school lunch is the only meal of the day. Poverty is widespread. The work opportunities for Christians in the north are limited. Most parents don't want to send their children to the government-run schools, where only the Quran counts. The conflict between the north and south has existed for centuries. Arabic Muslims infiltrated the Christian Nubia in the middle of the 7th century during their quest for converts. They were pushed back, but the Arabization could not be stopped. In the end, the spread of Islam was not the only thing at stake. Oil revenues also counted, and more than half of the country's oil can be found in the south. The Arabic government has controlled the oil field since the 1990s, but the peace agreement dictates that it should share the revenues with the south. Nevertheless, the majority of Southern Sudanese want to vote for independence in a referendum scheduled for 2011. They yearn to build up their own state with oil dollars.
And I think they will, especially because of the oil. The oil is all in the south, or at least 75% of it. And they will not want, they want to lose the south and the southerners, but not the oil. And so they will not just let it go like that. So I think we are going to a very dangerous period where confrontation may be inevitable.
Alfred Taban is courageous. A Christian from the south, he has created the country's first independent newspaper. Because of his articles, he's been arrested and tortured.
It was so hot, only I could not breathe. In order to breathe, I had to go under it and sniff like a dog. This is not a good treatment. So I suffered a lot. But I also thought, this is my country, I will fight. And that's why I refused to go outside.
North and South have now split the seats in Parliament. The peace agreement calls for a national government and promises autonomy and religious freedom.
All their sufferings, all the bombings, all the aerial bombings have come to an end, and there is a way forward. and there is a way of development so that 100 years from today, 50 years from today, that children should never have to go through what we've gone through.
The parliamentarian and geophysicist has returned home from political exile in Canada. He's visiting relatives in Khartoum. Since his return, he's accused the government of further destabilising the south to continue wielding power there.
The government of Sudan has decided to continue arming these people, giving them money, giving them ammunition, so that they go to the roads that lead to Southern Sudan, to Juba, and any vehicle that passes by, whether it is a passenger vehicle, they shoot. You can see the results.
As always, it's the people who suffer most. Those in the refugee camps are aware of the danger, but they still want to return home. In the north, many have electricity, running water, schools and hospitals. In the south, the civil war has completely destroyed the school and healthcare systems. But there, they're allowed to be Christian. In the referendum, I will vote for the separation from the north. The Arabs want to incite us one against the other. They make our lives difficult. Many have dared to take a leap into the dark. The International Office of Migration, a United Nations agency, estimates that there are 6 million internally displaced people in Sudan. They left their villages to escape the war. 10,000 of them have already returned. The women are carrying all of their belongings. They don't have anything else. They return to give their children a home where they can be equals. They must cover 150 kilometres on the White Nile. The trip to their homeland will take 18 hours. For those affected by the civil war, their return not only symbolises survival, but reconstruction. The peace agreement between the Islamic government and the Southern Sudanese Liberation Army gives them hope for a new life, without misery and displacement. The weapons are quiet after more than 2 decades. Slowly, people are again settling in the villages. The former rebels were incorporated into the National Army. Tanks and army vehicles attest to the battles. Just 3 years ago, Sudan was designated a rogue nation by the Americans. With the signing of the peace agreement, the government has shown its wish for peace, at least in the southern half of the country. In the west, in Darfur, the fighting continues. Non-exploded ammunition and landmines are another terrible legacy of the civil war. They are one of the key obstacles to the return after the peace agreement of more than 500,000 refugees and the 6 million displaced internally within Sudan. But despite this danger, hundreds of thousands have returned on their own, even though the infrastructure for a new life barely exists in the south. These people have nothing and must recover their belief in a future without terror and violence. They come because they long for justice and they want to live as Christians.